Hey guys, and welcome back to the Blaze TV podcast with your hosts, as always, Ed Kimberley and Stu Coles. And our first guest on, I think this is our first one this summer with players anyway, returning defenseman Nate Halbert. Nate, so good to see you, and really, really great to have you back in Blaze colors for next season. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Like you said, it's good to be back in Blaze colors and good to be back on this podcast.
I just realized it has been a heck of a long time. I was scratching my head trying to figure out when we last did this. I'm pretty sure we were maybe 1 or 2 weeks into the year, if I remember right. Does that ring some bells?
I mean, it was a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know exactly when, but
yeah, because the one thing that really stuck out was when we were talking about Manchester's rink, specifically the car park. So I think you guys must have played there like first week or something, and I think you said it was like the moon, and that just stuck with me all year. Yeah. But having that first year in the UK playing, it must have been pretty nice, right? Because it's been a strange few years in the world and in the world of professional hockey. Come out of U Sports, you have a couple of games in the American League there, sign up for another 4 year, and then with COVID and injuries, I think you got limited to I think it was 4 or 5 games. So to have a heavy schedule right off the bat was probably quite a good thing, right? To kind of get in the swing of things.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the most games I played since 2015 was, 24 games or something like that. So I had between injuries and just U Sports, you played way less games. So yeah, it'd been a long time since I kind of had, a heavy schedule. And like you said, off the bat to kind of come over here and you're playing 2 games, 3 games a week. And it was definitely an adjustment to make, but when we ran into those troubles, I think it was November, December-ish, and we started having games canceled and stuff like that. I wasn't happy about it, but I was definitely taking advantage of having a couple nights off that I didn't expect to have. So
yeah, because it could be a grind, right? Particularly if you've had a couple of injury-ridden years, you're trying to get back to full fitness, and in a way, I guess, a bit of a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah, I'm sure the fans didn't look at it that way, but and we definitely weren't thinking that in March when we had to play all the makeup games. But at the time, yeah, it seemed pretty good.
And I wasn't thinking that on, I think it was Boxing Day when the glass came out against Cardiff, and Stu had decided to go down to Southampton. How dare he, during the festive period, leaving me to try and do a one-man Joe Rogan podcast for a couple of hours before we got back underway. But no, I know what you mean. How long did you think it took you to get up to speed? Because I mean, you became a pretty popular figure with the fans right off the bat. Did you feel like you hit the ground running?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did. I think we talked about it before, but the bigger ice surface and more space kind of lent itself to skating a little more of the puck. And I think for me, I mean, anyone, you're going to get in the game when you've got the puck on your stick and you're moving around with it. So I think, like you said, I kind of quite quickly adapted to that and just started skating around with the puck. And, I think that made it easy to kind of get my legs going and get back into play and, hockey games and stuff like that.
Yeah. So a little bit more on that then, I guess. So in terms of I guess your style of game, and now a little bit of water's under the bridge, I guess I can ask you about this, but did getting into trouble a little bit with Dops early on kind of make you adjust how you were approaching games at times?
No, I don't. I mean, I certainly had my fair share of penalties, so I don't think I started behaving anymore later in the year. But I think the first one with Waller, he just kind of held on to my arm a little bit. It looked bad from the video, but there was no intent, so that was kind of a freak play. And then I think my other one, I was fed up and just gave a guy a cross check, and I think he sold it a bit because I think he scored on the power play after. So, but I definitely had to, it was an adjustment learning how refs call things and what the league looks at and what they don't look at for suspension stuff. So, yeah, I guess there was some learning curves, but I don't think I really made too much, going into a game thinking, oh, I can't be doing that or I can't be doing this. I think I just tried to play.
Yeah, I think that's probably probably a good thing, right? In terms of like how you figure that out. Like, oh, I don't have to necessarily adjust anything. You know, every ref has their nuances and whatever. But if you feel like you can play your game, I guess from an officiating perspective, they probably got that right. So that's good to hear. And look, I don't want to leave this on a negative note. You had a career year in terms of points. I think in terms of time on ice, in terms of plus minus. So you know, even though the season ended real tight with Belfast in that game, it was a heck of a personal year for you. So you must be pretty proud of that.
Yeah. I mean, coming into the season, my main goal was just to play the whole season.
Yeah.
That was kind of, if I did that, it was going to be a successful year. I remember talking on the podcast with you guys being like, yeah, you know, I'm more on the defensive side of things, and you know, that didn't pan out exactly the way I thought it would. But yeah, like you said, it was a great year in terms of like personal numbers and points and whatever. I think it really kind of picked up at the end where, you know, you kind of just you start getting those lucky assists that you weren't getting in the first half. I think I had one where I gave it to Yanni. Yanni gave it down to Feds. Feds tried firing it across. It hit the defenseman's skate, hit the goalie, and went in. And I was like, I'll take it, but you know, I didn't exactly earn that one. So, but yeah, like you said, it was a good year, and I'm hoping to, you know, improve on that for next year.
Did that element of your game kind of moving the puck up ice kind of a lot of this year just be born out of necessity, like something you had in the locker, hasn't really been something that you've needed to do necessarily through youth sports and junior, maybe, you know, your heart back to, I don't know, like teenage hockey or something, and then it was like, okay, well, the team need this, I can do this, I'm going to give it a shot. Is that how it kind of happened?
Yeah, I mean, I've I've never really I've never been the offensive defenseman on a team. So that's why I kind of just settled into my role of being a PK guy, and especially in Laval, it was move the puck, give it to someone else. You've done your job by turning it over when you're battle, but give it to a forward. Don't even try and skate it, kind of thing. It was much more like move the puck forward and then join. So I guess that's why I had the attitude. But then, like you said, kind of coming here, it kind of not that we needed it, but some games, you know, I thought we maybe needed a little more offense, and sometimes you just get those open lanes and go for a skate, and no, it's always fun. Defenseman always loves getting the puck with open ice. I mean, everyone does. Open ice in front of you and the ability to kind of, you know, take it down the ice. So it's something that I guess surprised me this year, but I think in general it worked out. Maybe sometimes Keno and Stewie were, well, maybe not Stewie pulling his hair out, but Keno pulling his hair out, and you know, not exactly happy with my choices, but you know, I'm sure we'll try and lock that down a bit this year, and maybe find a happy medium.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, those are words that I think Danny will appreciate. Happy medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the things that really stood out to me this year, I don't know whether it was just because we had you know, a long break, but just how much fire was in some of those rivalry games. You know, there were a couple of teams in there that we really didn't like, and you could tell. Did those games fire you up? You know, not naming teams' names, but there were a couple out there that I remember seeing on the fixtures list and going, "Oh boy, this is going to be a big game."
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I mean, obviously played Cardiff and Guildford more. Then we ended up playing Belfast a bunch more, just with Challenge Cup and playoffs. But there were some teams that we'd only play the 6 times, and you couldn't stand them by that 6th game. Then other teams, or you'd play them whatever amount of times, and it was kind of, yeah, it's a good game, but I don't really like dislike these guys, kind of thing. So it was. Yeah, I think maybe a lot of guys just want to get at it, and I know especially at the beginning of the year there we you know, we had a couple what are we gonna call them, scuffles, we'll call them scuffles, and I don't know if Dopp saw it that way, but I call them scuffles. And yeah, so it was, and also we were playing the same teams a lot, I think, early on, repetitive. So yeah, I think built up tension from the time off, and then having fans back in the building, you know, the Coventry fans, they enjoy you mixing it up once in a while. So, you know, I think all of that kind of created a little bit more animosity between teams.
Yeah, I certainly felt that. And, you know, your defensive partner for pretty much all the year. I think you guys were the mainstay. I don't remember you guys getting broken up very much with Justin Hamner. Both of you guys took care of business. What was it like playing with him all year? Because, to me, he's one of the most underrated defensemen in this league.
Yeah, there's I was actually joking with him the other day, but just saying, like, you kind of helped me out not have to play defense at all this year. I left that to you, and he was like, yeah, it was great, man. And once we get the puck, I'd just give it over to you and you'd go off with it, and I just saunter up to the blue line and stand there for a bit. So I think we had a good chemistry, and we worked well together in terms of him being a little more defensive and me liking to get up ice a little more. But yeah, like the amount of times I would turn a puck over, make the wrong play, or get caught out of position, and back check hard, but kind of have that confidence that Hammer's back there, and he's most likely going to end up shutting down whatever mess I've made. So it's pretty freeing to get to play with someone like Hammer. So yeah, I was truly blessed last year to have the skipper as my partner.
That is a pretty good reference on his CV. He'll probably be taking that one to the bank. But Stu, I mean, you've been around pretty much as long as I have, if not longer. What Nate was saying there, do you know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of Andreas Moborg and Ron Schudra. Do you remember that quote when it was, Schudra must have been late 30s. Moby was, I think, maybe in his early 20s. And he said, if the puck goes into Moby's corner, he goes and gets it. If the puck goes into my corner, Moby goes and gets it. I don't know why, but that sort of reminded me of that, Stu.
Yeah, definitely. They had a very strong partnership in that season, but it was very much predicated on the fact that Andreas Moborg, he did the skating, and Ron Schudra, who Rocket Ron, had a big shot, and it was make sure you get it to Ron on the power play, and it all will work fine. And it was a good year. It was a couple of trophies that year, so always a happy time. You mentioned actually, you said, some of my decisions, made Stewie and Keno a little bit, you said pull the hair out, but they've obviously brought you back, and the fans, if you judge by social media, they're very happy you're back. So what was the decision behind coming back? What was the reason for coming back for that second year?
It was a tough decision. I had multiple offers, and I narrowed it down. But I figured I wanted to be in a spot where I was going to be best used. So my plan is to kind of try and show myself the best I can this year. And I figured if I go to another team, maybe I get put behind another defenseman or something like that. So I think Coventry just offered the best opportunity for me, personally, and I kind of know Coventry. There's familiarity there, and I'll be doing my MBA as well this year. So kind of just talking with Thompson about that, and Clem, who had done it I think the year before in Feds. So it's just kind of all fit into place well, and like you said, Stewie and Keno wanted me back, so we got together and I guess got it done.
Does it help? It's almost an obvious question, but does it help when you're on the ice and you get the fans sort of behind you? You're obviously a popular character, scoring a few goals, getting a few assists, a few big hits. Those are the things that's kind of energize and get the fans into the game. Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about it, the no fans the year before. It's no matter how much. I mean, we had fake crowd noise getting pumped through the Bell Center when we were there, but it is nothing to the real fans reacting to a real hit or a goal or whatever. So hearing the crowd, whatever it is, if it's a modern making a big save, or if it was someone giving someone the business after the whistle, or a big goal or something like that late in the game, it's there's nothing like that raw emotion and passion that the fans would bring. And in the Electric Factory, the Sky Dome, it can get loud, so it's definitely fun.
Yeah, the crowd noise pumped through must have been an interesting experience. So certainly for me and Ed, when we did the Elite Series games back in April 21, there was no crowd noise in Nottingham, and I'm pretty sure the teams could hear both me and Ed commentating from up in the booth because there was nobody else around. There was no noise in that arena. It was deathly silent, and it was such a strange experience to be involved in. But going back to what you said about you set some personal, you had some things that you wanted to do personally. What are you looking at for yourself and for the team for the year ahead? I mean, the obvious one is I want to win more games and win some trophies. But what is there anything else that you're kind of looking at?
I mean, it's hard right now with the team because I don't really know who we have, or I know a few guys, but I don't know what the actual roster's looking like. So I don't know what a realistic expectation is, but I'm talking with Stu. He's confident bringing in the right guys and learning from maybe a few mistakes last year in terms of maybe guys aren't the right fit or maybe game management from the players, from the coaches kind of. So I think we can all learn from that. But like you said, it comes down to trophies and winning games. That's kind of what everyone cares about and what your goals are. So, I definitely don't want to be finishing the 8th spot again. I think finishing top half of the league is reasonable, to think, and then you can maybe push for a top 4 spot for home ice in the first playoffs. I think, that's a fair goal. And then things like the Challenge Cup, it's round robin, but then playoffs are the aggregate knockout, and we showed even last year when we played Belfast in the playoffs, it was we were heavily underdogs, and I don't think anyone expected us to give them the run that we did. And even the 8th place team kind of banded together and we played the right hockey for those 2 games, and I mean we were a shootout goal away from moving on. So I mean, I think the Challenge Cup's fun because it creates a different aspect in the season, and it gives teams maybe who are a little lower in the standings, not going to win the league, a chance to turn it on for a couple games and maybe pick up a trophy. So I know I didn't give you an exact specific in terms of goals for the team, but like I said, I think it's a little hard right now, not knowing our exact roster.
I have to agree in one aspect there, that the Belfast playoff game, that was probably as tight a series or tight a 2-game legged game that I've seen in 15, 16 years of sort of being involved properly with hockey. It was that close. I mean, it was 1 goal either way because CJ makes a save or the puck goes wide on Conway's shot. Happy days, and then a couple of minutes later it just swings the other way. It's so finely poised, and having those aspects within the season does keep everybody entertained. It keeps everybody involved.
Stu, the other thing as well, don't forget, I know everyone talks about that Conway goal, but Belfast's goal in regulation came off a skate from a muffin pass in the corner. And look, don't get me wrong, the Conway goal was awesome. I ain't gonna lie, he had guts to do that. But that one that came off a skate probably hurt me a little more, to be honest, watching that.
Yeah, that was tough.
You mentioned you've been talking with Danny, and he, obviously as the roster shapes, there's been a little bit of turnover with players already. We know that CJ and Feds aren't coming back; they are moving on to other teams. Happens every year, happens to every team. This is one of the things that you kind of deal with. But as he mentioned how that team is shaping up to you, what are those sorts of discussions like? Or is it more sort of like, this is what I want from you? How does that sort of dynamic work?
Yeah, I think it's more, asking if I know any guys who fit certain roles he's looking for to fill. And then, me just being curious and keeping tabs on who teammates are going to be next year. So I'm probably nagging him a little too much. Hey, you signed anyone new yet? But yeah, it's more just kind of talking through it. And we've discussed, or he's told me, not that I got to say in it, but he's told me kind of what he plans to do this year in terms of a different roster and adjustments he's trying to make us more competitive. And I think he use our ice, our different ice surface to our advantage a little more than maybe we did last year.
We'll have to run a competition. Who nags more? Is it you on Danny or is it Ed on Craig to work out who does the most chasing to find out what the signings are? One of the things that came out in the kind of press release that was written was that, you know, after this year you're going to be eligible for Team GB, which is, you know, another sort of thing to throw in the mix. Have you thought about that much at all? Have you spoken to anyone from GB? How, you know, was that even a factor of the decision, or is this kind of like, well, maybe if it happens, we'll see?
No, it was one of the reasons I came to Coventry in the first place. In terms of talking to anyone from GB, I don't really, it's not been mentioned to me by anyone. It's just a goal I've had in my mind. But I watched the World Championships in whenever it was May, I guess it was. I watched that pretty closely, and it was pretty heartbreaking. A couple of those games that just slipped away at the end. But yeah, like a chance to play at the World Championships, no matter what division is for, you know, your country, it's always an honor and a cool thing. And I'm looking forward to this year. I think it's in Nottingham. So we'll be the host country. That's then again if I get selected. But yeah, I think it'll be a pretty cool opportunity just to go play at an international tournament. I've never represented a country or anything like that. It's always been club teams. So I think that'll be a pretty cool thing.
Certainly something to look out for as the season progresses, whether that's let's say on that horizon. I wonder, it does, you know, that potentially has a nice bit of ring to it, because obviously Nottingham, that's home, or, you know, a long time ago, you know, so it almost comes full circle.
It almost does. I think winning gold there would be full circle.
Yeah, for sure. And take it back to the elite tier. That would be the best outcome all round. On a maybe a slightly more disappointing note, another player isn't returning. Is obviously Joey Ratz, who isn't going to be coming back to the club. And I think I'm sure you'll join us in sending him, you know, our best wishes, everyone from the club and from yourselves, with his and the support that he needs at this time.
Yeah, I talked to him a week ago, or maybe two, when he kind of first told us what was going on. But he seems, you know, in high spirits, and talking, and Vanessa's girlfriend's also been sharing information and sending photos in the hospital and stuff. So it's obviously big and scary, but from the news I've been hearing from them, there's positive signs. I think it's pretty cool, the fundraiser, or the GoFundMe, I guess, that's going on. And my dad was saying that he was looking at it, and, you know, Belfast fans and Cardiff fans and Glasgow fans are all sending money. He says, I think that's pretty cool, you know, just fans throughout the league, you know, coming together and helping even a player who's not part of their own, but just someone who's in the league and a guy who needs help. And I think that shows a lot of, you know, integrity and character, just of, you know, it was not just one or two people, it's a lot of people. So yeah, so you know, I hope all the best to him. I'm definitely going to be staying in contact with him through the summer, and you know, trying to support him the best ways that I can from afar, and hope he has a speedy recovery, and I guess, you know, beats this as fast as possible.
Completely agree. If anyone is thinking about that GoFundMe page, that link is on coventryblaze.co.uk. You can go and search it up there and make a donation if you feel the need that you want to. But one maybe final question from me, and it is more a question of, what would you like to tell the fans back in Coventry? You know, what's the message for those coming back to see you August, September time?
I don't know. I'd say, you know, let's pack that barn and let's get it rocking. Let's, you know, I think we want to put a show on the ice for the fans, and we want to see fans in seats, and, you know, have a great year winning games. You know, maybe some close ones for the fans to enjoy, some overtime thrillers, but maybe a couple lopsided ones where we can, you know, feel good about ourselves and stuff like that. But yeah, excited for the year. Excited to get going. I know the other guys coming back that I've talked to are as well. Yeah, and I think, why not do something special this year?
Absolutely. And I think I can speak on behalf of Ed and myself of, can you please keep the close ones down to a minimum? Because my heart, when I'm on commentary trying to do that, is not a good thing. I don't know what Ed thinks.
So you didn't like that Belfast playoff game, late goal?
I like the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I don't know about calling that one, but the away game anyway, because I think I had some Blaze merch over my head in terms of a hoodie. I can watch that game very well. It was a pretty tough one. But it's strange, right? I mean, I know you didn't play here in 1920, but it's 2 years in a row where we kind of feel like there's some unfinished business. That year, we were on a heck of a run towards the playoffs and the season got cut short. And this year, I feel like we left a few on the table, I think's fair to say there. So, full year, the world seems to be getting back to normal, relatively speaking. So hopefully some big things to come in 22, 23, right?
Yep. Excited for it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you back over here, buddy. And guys, thank you so much once again for tuning in, for supporting the Blaze podcast. As Stu said, if you want to support Joey Ratz, links on blaze.co.uk to his GoFundMe and on the socials as well. So if you can help him and support him, that'd be awesome. In terms of other content from Blaze podcast stuff, it seems like signing season is upon us. David Clements announced not that long ago. I don't think it's a secret that we're going to have him on the podcast because I don't feel like we've spoken to him in far too long either, which is strange for Dave because Nate, he likes to chat, right? He's a fun guy.
Clements likes to chat? Really? Yeah. Just make sure he's when you talk to him, make sure he's on the golf course enough. He's got to carry the squad next year. Me and him, we're undefeated. So no one could beat us when we were playing together. So make sure he's got that golf game going this summer.
I'll definitely pass that message on. So guys, stay tuned to the Blaze TV YouTube channel for that coming up in the next week or so. So until then, from me, from Stu, from Nate Halbert, from all the guys at Blaze TV, see you soon and enjoy this lovely weather we're having. Bye for now.